Okay guys, how you going? Picking up from where we left off before. Blank, a copy of blank correspondence has been forwarded to our Miami office for review. Any future inquiries in this matter can be referred to E. Michael Cahoe, Section Chief, Violent Crimes and Major Offences Section, Criminal Investigation Division. Sincerely yours, Larry A. Potts, Assistant Director, Criminal Investigative Division. And then we go to page 218. To SAC WMFO from SAC Miami, and all the numbers. Finders Group, Subject Finders Group, White Slave Traffic Act, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice Preliminary Inquiry, OO WMFO. Bureau teletype to WMFO and Miami on the 2nd of the 11th, 93, and WMFO teletype to the Bureau and Miami dated the 10th of the 11th, 93, with lead inadvertently sent to Miami for Jacksonville Division at Tallahassee, Florida. Enclosed for information of WMFO is one copy of memo of Special Agent blank dated the 22nd of the 10th, 93, involving caption matter with attachments and copy of FD 302 concerning interview of blank on the 15th of the 11th, 93. Attached for the information of Jacksonville is one copy of FD 302 concerning interview of blank on the 15th of the 11th, 93. For the information of WMFO, enclosed memo and attached information was investigation conducted prior to Bureau Teletype November the 2nd, 1993, which is self-explanatory. This investigation was conducted in response to allegations put forth within the Stewart community by blank and others as to sexual abuse of children within the area. 2 WMFO, numbers enclosed 2 Jacksonville, enclosed 1 info, 1 Miami, MJMBSB. In response to Bureau Teletype the 2nd of the 11th, 93, request for interview of blank, he was interviewed on the 15th of the 11th, 93, with results set forth as this interview reflects. A whole lot of blanks. I'd love to read this unredacted, guys. I'm really interested. WMFO should note that during interview of blank, he advised he would provide on the following day, November the 16th, 1993, the finder's location in Washington, D.C. To date, he has not provided this information. Further, he initially was reluctant to discuss the matter with Special Agent blank until it was pointed out to him that if he was withholding information concerning child abuse, he himself might have some criminal liability. In view of the fact that no investigation remains outstanding, Miami is considering this matter in an RUC status. And there's just blank. What did they blank the whole thing out? Finders Group from Director of the FBI. Attention to Special Agent blank from Director of the FBI, Finders Group, WSTA, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice Preliminary Inquiries. Please hand copy to SSA. Wow, that's really hard to read. Please see attached draft synopsis. Please review with Special Agent blank and contact myself or Special Agent blank. Thanks, blank. The USCS informed the MPD that they were unsure if the 6 children had been kidnapped from their parents and that they had attempted unsuccessfully to contact representatives of the finders at 3918-3920 West Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Is that what it means? They feared that other children were being abused at that address. This is the draft. Based on information received from an MPD source and from the authorities in Florida, the MPD contacted AUSA blank, who advised that search warrants for the known Washington, D.C. addresses were appropriate under Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 1201 kidnapping. Subsequently, a representative of the MPD prepared an affidavit and search warrants were obtained from Magistrate Dwyer in the U.S. District Court for the premises at 3918 to 3920 West Street, Northwest, and 13074 4th Street, Northeast Washington, D.C. If that's wrong, guys, let me know. I'm just assuming that's what it is. Search warrants. On the 5th and 6th of the 2nd, 87, search warrants were executed for the premises at 3918 to 20 West Street, Northwest, and 1307 4th Street, Northeast Washington, D.C. by members of the NPD Intelligence Division. During the execution of the search warrants, no children were found. Large amounts of biographical information concerning the finders was obtained, along with computers, software, and photographs. All of this information was subsequently turned over to the Florida authorities for evaluation. And the reason they didn't find any children there, I believe, is because they were warned after the two got caught. The MPD case file does not contain a copy of search warrants nor a listing of specific items seized during the execution of search warrants on the 5th of the 2nd, 87 and the 6th of the 2nd, 87 at the finders' group properties at 13074 4th Street Northeast and 3918 3920 West Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Although a report dated the 26th of the 2nd, 87 indicates that copies of documents seized during the execution of search warrants were provided to authorities in Florida, and the evidence held in the custody of the Mobile Crime Lab would be released to representatives of the finders. No documentation was found in the file which reflected the present status of any items seized during these searches. Medical and psychological reports. Blank. Exempted from automatic declassification authority derived from FBI Automatic Declassification Guide Exemption Code 25X in brackets 1. Date the 16th of the 9th, 2019. All information contained herein is unclassified except where shown otherwise. So the whole thing. MPD investigation. The MPD interviewed family members of the 6 children recovered in Tallahassee, Florida, as well as 21 former members of the Finders Group. Representatives of the MPD travelled to Tallahassee, Florida, to conduct interviews and obtain information from the Tallahassee Police Department. An MPD overview report dated the 13th of the 4th, 87, reported that the former members of the Finders Group indicated that the Finders organisation began as an alternatives lifestyle in the 1960s, and many of them became disenchanted with the quasi-military order under the direct supervision blank. Many of the former members stated that they feared retribution from the Finders organisation. The overview report also noted that the family members of the 6 children that had been interviewed and they had stated that blank had brainwashed their children and prevented any contact with their children or grandchildren. Members of the Finders, according to family members, would stop any contact by sending letters describing explicit sexual acts involving current members, including photographs and drawings. The information obtained from the children and the authorities in Tallahassee, Florida, reflected that the children had not verbalized any complaints of sexual abuse. During the interviews conducted by the MPD in this matter, no documented evidence was developed concerning sexual abuse of children by members of the Finders Group. B1 per CIA, B3, B6, B7C. During an interview on the 20th of the 2nd, 87, blank, a former member of the Finders Group, stated that a lot of probably good information, but it's blanked out. On the 8th of the 2nd, 87, there's a heap more blanks. Blank had stated that people in the Finders Group were a commune-type group with a hard-working type of work ethic. He indicated that they had shown that they are willing to work at any project for the benefit of the group. Blank stated that the finders led a somewhat bizarre lifestyle. Blank, blank, blank indicated that they felt that the finders were not in any way involved in child abuse or devil worship. On the 17th of the 2nd, 87, blank, blank of the finders stated that the finders had been known to send harassing letters and that blank, blank had stated this is an example of blank, blank. He stated that although the finders' behaviour was often bizarre, he did not recall ever seeing any children mistreated by the finders. Final deposition. During the course of this investigation, the District of Columbia Child Protection Office was advised of this matter by the MPD. Copies of all documents seized during the execution of search warrants relative to child neglect, abuse or suspected neglect abuse were provided for review by the Child Protection Office. During meetings between the Child Protection Office and the representatives of the MPD, it was determined that the children involved in this matter were not under the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia. The state of Florida dropped all charges in this matter in late March 1987 due to lack of evidence. References to the Central Intelligence Agency. The MPD file contains 3 references to the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, located in reports dated the 15th of the 9th, 86, and the 19th of the 2nd, 87, and the 13th of the 4th, 87. There was no documentation in the file of any direction or interference of the MPD finders' investigation by the CIA. Yeah, there would be no documented file. I'm sure there was interference. There was interference somewhere because this thing was dropped and it shouldn't have been. An MPD report prepared by Detective Blank and dated the 15th of the 9th, 86, documents a meeting with an MPD source who blank. This report indicates that blank was introduced to the Finders Organisation in 1980 at a party in Washington, D.C. by blank. I'd love to know who these blanks are. An MPD report prepared by Sergeant J.H. Stitcher, deceased, dated the 19th of the 2nd, 87, and captioned Finders' involvement with the Central Intelligence Agency, indicated that on the 18th of the 2nd, 87, Detective Blank spoke with Special Agent, believed to be an abbreviation for Special Agent, SA, okay, blank, Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, concerning any contact that the members of the Finders may have had with the CIA. Blank confirmed that blank, Isabel, deceased at the time of the report, was a CIA employee from 1950 until 1971. Blank had asked Special Agent Blank if our investigation was treading on anyone's toes out there. Blank had replied, sort of. See? He acknowledged that they had someone working on the case since it first broke on the news media. Blank. Future Enterprises operates out of the warehouse at 1307 4th Street, NE. A special agent had indicated that the CIA had been aware that during the period from 1969 to 1971, Blank had travelled to Moscow, North Korea, and North Vietnam. And if you know anything about those places. This report stated that CIA apparently had a vested interest in Blank and or the group. They have not contacted any of the investigating agencies while they have been working on the case. In summary, blank. No, they wouldn't have conducted, they wouldn't have contacted any investigating agencies, but they certainly would have been involved somehow. I can nearly guarantee that. There will be no justification for the way the children have been treated, and the matter will be addressed in Family Division Superior Court. The report was marked confidential and do not disseminate, and was signed by MPD Sergeant J.H. Stitcher. It is noted that throughout this report the name Blank had been lined out and the name Blank had been penciled in above the lined out name. An overview report prepared by the Detective by Detective blank blank and dated the 13th of the 4th, 87, indicated that blank blank was a former employee of the agency, that the CIA had been monitoring the MPD investigation from the beginning, and blank blank with the Finders Group. This report stated that it is the writer's belief that the Finders organisation is and has been utilised by the CIA as a disinformation service, spreading non-essential, non-critical information to various organisations throughout the United States and overseas. This group, for the most part, is made up of overeducated non-achievers who lack the inborn initiative to succeed on their own. Therefore, they fell in with a charismatic leader who gave them direction and self-importance. To the most part, this organisation individually is harmless. As to the abuse of the children, I do not think that child abuse was a planned tactic of this group. Yeah, it might not have been planned, but it sure was happening. And CIA are involved in it up to their necks. That's why I believe this was all dropped. Someone somewhere said something, dropped this, and they did. US Customs Service documents. The MPD file contained 3 documents which appear to be reports prepared by an unidentified US Customs Service special agent. These documents include a memo dated the 7th of the 2nd, 87, a memo dated the 13th of the 4th, 87, and an undated document captioned Finder's Chronology. The name of the USCS special agent and the MPD detective are not contained in these documents as they were deleted prior to review by the FBI. The memo dated the 7th of the 2nd, 87, and captioned Customs Cooperation Interest in Tallahassee, Washington MPD Child Abuse Investigation, is addressed to the resident agent in Chicago and is from an unidentified USCS special agent. The memo indicates that the USCS duty agent received a call on the 5th of the 2nd, 87 from USCS Tallahassee, Florida, who had been contacted by the Tallahassee Police Department concerning a child abuse investigation. The TPD had contacted USCS to obtain assistance in identifying 6 children and 2 adults taken into custody by the TPD. The USCS agent conducted computer checks on the Customs Child Pornography database with negative results. Subsequently, the USCS special agent was contacted by an MPD detective who advised that he was interested in the information concerning the TPD investigation and that he would be conducting search warrants in the area later in the day. The detective advised the USCS special agent that the USCS was invited to participate due to the continuing possibility of violations of law enforcement by the Customs Service. Law enforced by the Customs Service. The USCS special agent accompanied the MPD on the execution of search warrants at 391820 West Street, Washington, DC, at which time he was able to observe and access the entire building. No children were located during the search. The memo notes that during the execution of the search warrants by the MPD, the USCS special agent reports having observed large quantities of children's clothing and toys, several computers, and numerous documents. Cursory examination of the documents revealed detailed instructions for obtaining children for unspecified purposes. The instructions included the impregnation of female members of the community known as the Finders, purchasing children, trading, and kidnapping. And what did Epstein want to do? He wanted to impregnate females, and have his DNA and his, little people running around everywhere so he could train them to be just like he was. We're run by these guys. You realise that, don't you? The memo notes that on the 6th of the 2nd, 87, the USCS special agent had met MPD detective at the warehouse on 4th Street, NE. He was granted unlimited access to the premises and he was able to observe numerous documents which described illicit sexual encounters between the members of the community known as the Finders. The memo reports that the CS special agent saw a large collection of photographs of unidentified persons, some of which were nude and believed to be members of the finders. Blank. Further investigation of the premises disclosed numerous files relating to activities of the organisation in different parts of the world. Okay, this is big, guys. And this hasn't stopped, and it wasn't nothing. It was a big something. The memo concluded by noting it would take 3 to 5 days for all information to be sorted, reviewed, and logged by the MPD, and that the USCS special agent would maintain contact with the MPD detective. The MPD file contained a memo dated the 13th of the 4th, 87. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to... Captioned finders. The memo, marked confidential, was addressed to the agent in Washington, D.C., and was from an unidentified USCS special agent. This memo reports that on the 31st of the 3rd, 87, the USCS special agent had contacted an MPD detective and arranged a meeting to review the documents seized pursuant to 2 search warrants executed in January 1987. On the 2nd of the 4th, 87, the USCS special agent went to meet the MPD detective, who was not available, and the USCS special agent spoke to a third party who was willing to discuss the case with me on a strictly off-the-record basis. The memo reports that the USCS special agent was advised that all the passport data had been turned over to the State Department for their investigation. The State Department in turn advised MPD that all travel and use of the passports by the holders of the passports was within the law and no action would be taken. This included travel to Moscow, North Korea and North Vietnam from the late 1950s to the mid-1970s. The individual further advised me of circumstances which indicated that the investigation into the activity of the finders had become a CIA internal matter. The MPD report has been classified secret and was not available for review. I was advised that the FBI had withdrawn from the investigation several weeks prior and that the FBI Foreign Counterintelligence Division had directed MPD not to advise FBI Washington Field Office of anything that had transpired. No further information will be available. No further action will be taken. What does that sound like to you guys? This is sickening. The MPD file contained an undated document captioned Finder's Chronology. See previous material for dates. This document listed an undated chronology of events, and the first entry is as follows. Contact of U.S. Customs by Tallahassee PD regarding discovery of unidentified children and adult male guardians in City Park. Subsequent inquiries report the MPD obtaining search warrants, the execution of those search warrants by the MPD and 2 USS special agents, and the seizure of numerous documents to include passports, telexes, computer electronic media, and correspondence. The chronology included the following entries. Based on observed documents, customs agents unsuccessfully attempts to gain access to evidence for detailed analysis for use in investigating possible export, Neutrality Act, Mann Act, and child pornography violations. US passport showing travel by subject to North Korea, North Vietnam, and Soviet Union from 1956 through 1975 was turned over to the State Department Security for investigation, but investigators were advised that travel was legitimate and to terminate further investigation. There you go. See, they've been told to terminate. As investigation proceeded, CIA made one contact and blank. CIA refers all further contacts to FCIA, Foreign Counterintelligence Agency. FCIA is distinct and autonomous organisation within the FBI. FCIA contacts MPD Intelligence and advised that all reports regarding finders are to be classified at the secret level. FCIA also advised that no information was to be turned over to the FBI, WFO for investigation, and that the WFO would not be advised of the CIA or FCIA involvement contact. Children discovered in Tallahassee were eventually turned over to individuals claiming to be parents or guardians. No further MPD, FBI, or Customs involvement. As far as is known, no details of CIA or FCIA involvement ever became public. The MPD file did not contain documentation corroborating the chronology of events listed in the document captioned Finder's Chronology. See previous material for dates. Wow, this is quite interesting, guys. Really, wow. I'm glad I decided to read the whole thing, and I won't stop until I'm done. Subject: Finders Group, White Slave Traffic Act, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice, Preliminary Inquiry, OOWMFO. RE WMFO Teletype to FBI HQ, dated November the 15th, 1993. WMFO Facsimile to FBI HQ on November 24th, 1993, both captioned as above, and tel call between SSA, FBI HQ blank, FBI HQ and SSA blank. WMFO November 23rd, 1993. Referenced WMFO teletype outlined the results of WMFO's preliminary inquiry concerning captioned group. Page 3 WMFO, unclass. WMFO's completed all requested interviews and file reviews with the exception of the above cited matters. BT. Oh, wow. Preliminary inquiry. Please hand copy to SSA blank. Please read and contact me on no action required. Routing and transmittal slip. Do not use this form as a record of approvals, concurrences, disposals, clearances and similar actions. Memorandum. Finders Group, WSTA, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice, PI, OOMFO. Attached to this memo is material provided by WMFO by SSA blank, VCU, CID, FBI HQ at a December the 10th, 1993 meeting concerning captioned matter. This meeting took place at the Department of Justice's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Unit, 1001 G Street, NW, Washington, D.C. The following individuals were present at this meeting: SSA blank, FBI HQ, SSA blank, WMFO, SA blank, WMFO, Mr. blank, DOJ, Mr. George Bergasser, DOJ. SSA blank provided an update on the above caption matter to the DOJ representatives. Preliminary inquiry allegations of organised child abuse by a group known as the Finders. U.S. Customs Service, USCS, Special Agent blank has not been interviewed by the FBI as of this date. He has been interviewed by USCS during interviews with USCS blank. An FBI HQ indices search determined that FBI Jacksonville and FBI Washington Metropolitan Field Office, WMFO, had conducted an investigation resulting from an arrest of two individuals associated with the Finders in Tallahassee, Florida, in 1987. On the 4th of the 2nd, 87, blank were arrested by the Tallahassee Police Department on misdemeanor child abuse charges resulting from a complaint that 6 children playing in a park were unkept and neglected. Blank, the two subjects with the children could not initially provide sufficient information as to their legal custody of the children and were uncooperative regarding their identity and the children's identity. As a result of information developed during these arrests, the TPD contacted the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, Washington, D.C., and provided information concerning blank, blank, and their associates with a group known as Finders, based in Washington, D.C., on the 5th of the 2nd, 87, and the 6th of the 2nd, 87. The MPD executed search warrants prepared by the United States Attorney's Office, District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., on 2 properties owned by the Finders in Washington, D.C. FBI Special Agent Blank, WMFO Case Agent, and US Special Agent Blank participated in these searches. Investigation conducted by MPD and WMFO led to the identification and interview of the mothers of 6 children, 2 of the fathers, and several other key members of the Finders group. On the 18th of the 2nd, 87, WMPFO presented the results of their investigation to Assistant United States Attorney Blank Blank, United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., who declined prosecution for violation of Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 1201, kidnapping, and 2251, sexual exploitation of children. I would love to know who that was. In March 1987, the TPD in the state of Florida, blank, blank, on the 9th of the 11th, 93, the MPD provided a copy of the MPD investigative case file concerning the Finders. The case file did not contain a listing of items which had been seized during the MPD execution of search warrants on the 5th and 6th of the 2nd, 87. On the 2 Finders properties, 1307 4th Street, NE, and 3918-3920 W Street, West Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., DD. In addition, there was no indication of the present status of any items seized at these searches, nor a listing of personnel who had been present during the execution of these search warrants. The MPD detective that had been assigned to this case was Detective Blank. WMFO Special Agent Blank was interviewed on the 8th of the 11th, 93, and MPD Detective Blank was interviewed on the 10th of the 11th, 93, concerning their knowledge of the Finders' investigation, to include any information they might possess concerning child abuse, exploitation by the Finders, as well as any knowledge concerning the alleged involvement by blank blank. The Department of State, DOS, and the FBI. They both denied any direct knowledge of any evidence indicating child abuse, exploitation, or interference from any U.S. intelligence agency. Both advised that they were aware of allegations suggesting child exploitation and associations by the Finders, blank. Finders property in 1987. Special Agent Blank was present during the execution of the MPD search warrant at the warehouse owned by the Finders. She observed computer equipment and records, but she observed no evidence of child sexual exploitation, child abuse, or child pornography. Subsequent to the execution of the search warrants, Special Agent Blank had obtained a copy of memoranda prepared by USCS and a whole lot of blank. The DOS or any other intelligence organization or entity. Special Agent Blank stated that at no time did any individual or agency intervene or attempt to influence the outcome of their investigation that they know of. I'm just going to have a sip of my tea, guys, just so I don't cough. A review of the WMFO case file revealed a memo from Special Agent Blank dated the 9th of the 3rd, 87, which addressed misstatements and discrepancies contained in an attached 7th of the 2nd, 87 memorandum from the USCS Special Agent Blank. In this memo, Special Agent Blank documented the fact that she had discussed Special Agent Blank memo with MPD Detective and more blank. And more blanks, blank, blank, blanks. Detective blank blank. Sergeant John Stitcher, deceased, had contacted Blank concerning the Finders and had obtained this information. What information? We didn't get any. Blank had nothing to do with the children or his investigation into the alleged child abuse. Blank stated that he was never instructed by anyone from Blank, FBI, State Department, or any other organisation to end the finder's investigation, and that his investigation ran its normal course without interference. Well, what we just told above, that they were told there's nothing there. Blank related that his investigation was not able to develop any evidence that the children associated with the finders had been abused in any way. On the 12th of the 11th, 93, WMFO interviewed USCS Special Agent Blank, who provided information concerning the USCS 1993 response to Blank on USCS's child exploitation investigation. He had interviewed USCS Special Agent Blank on the 3rd of the 9th, 93 and the 16th of the 9th, 93, during which, a lot of blanks, Blank advised that he had reviewed USCS files and interviewed USCS agents and supervisors concerning the finder's investigation. Blank related that the customs file on the finder's case in 1987 consisted of only one report. That of Special Agent Blank indicated that his review of USCS files revealed no evidence of any finder's involvement with child abuse, child sexual exploitation, or child pornography. He indicated that he could find no evidence of any customs violation of any kind located within the file. Blank related that his review of USCS files located no references to Blank or any other intelligence organisations. Or any other intelligence organisation have been involved for making inquiries concerning the finder's investigation. He advised that his review of the MPD files on the finders did reveal two references to Blank, one in a report written by Sergeant Stitcher and the other in a report written by Detective Blank. On the 19th of the 11th, 93, WMFO obtained a copy of the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, MPD, investigation file concerning finders. Memorandum to ADIC WMFO from Special Agent Blank, Finders Group, WSTA, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice, PIOO WMFO. Attached to this memo are photocopies of two United States District Court search warrants and returns made by Special Agent Blank on the 14th of the 12th, 93 at the United States District Court, 3rd Street and Constitutional Avenue, NW, Washington, D.C. These documents are further described as follows. Search warrant case number 87-0077M-01 executed on the 5th of the 2nd, 87 at 3918-20 West Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Search warrant case number 87-0076M-01 executed on the 5th of the 2nd and the 6th of the 2nd, 87 at 13074 4th Street, NA, Washington, D.C. Lieutenant Blank was requested to determine whether MPD has any records further disclosing the property or setting forth disposition of same. Lieutenant Blank opinion that records are normally destroyed. Great. Dear me. Okay, this is a search warrant to Chief of Police. Any authorised officer of the United States, affidavits having been made before me, Blank, who has reason to believe that Blank on the person or on the premises known as 1307 4th Street, NE, Washington, D.C., described as a warehouse. In the Blank District of Columbia, there is now concealed a certain personal property, namely any and all minor children present who are not under direct parental or legal guardianship, supervision, or being kept under unsafe circumstances, and all documents, papers, tapes, films, photographs, computers, computer data, clothing, and any items related to or evidence of kidnapping or any related offences as described in an attached affidavit. Okay. It just says, I'm satisfied that the affidavits and recorded testimony establish probable cause to believe the personal property so described is now concealed on the personal premises above described and established grounds for the issuance of this warrant. Okay. The list of stuff they obviously got. Inventory of person or property taken, pursuant to the warrants. IBM computer, Omnicron Turbo ROM, Monitor Tron, Macintosh computer, Compact computer 286, assorted software and manuals, assorted personal papers, data fax, data transfer machine, assorted papers and photos, kitchen closet, assorted papers, photos, documents throughout the warehouse. I swear that this inventory is true and detailed account of personal property taken by me on the warrant. Subscribe, sworn, blank. That's another application. The applications for the search warrants. Affidavit in support of a United States Magistrate search warrant for the entire premises 2, known as 3918 to 20 W Street, Northwest Washington. DC described as 2-story brick structure with entrance between the addresses connecting the two structures. Oh, these premises are occupied by numerous subjects who call themselves the finders. The second address, entire premises, is known as 1307 4th Street, NE, Washington, D.C., described as a warehouse utilised by the members of the finders. Prior to February the 5th, 1987, your affidavit, Detective Blank, received information from a confidential source of information. This source, blank, 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 blank. On February the 5th, 1987, your affidavit received information from the United States Customs Service that the Tallahassee, Florida Police Department had received a call from an unidentified woman in Tallahassee who stated that 2 men were keeping 6 children in the back of a van in a specific location in Tallahassee, Florida. The police in Tallahassee responded to the location of the van in the evening hours of February the 4th, 1987, and located the children and arrested the 2 male subjects later identified as blank and blank, and another subject who refused to give his name to the police in Florida. Both subjects were charged with child abuse, and according blank Tallahassee PD, Juvenile Sex Branch, recommendations will be made to the state's attorney to charge the subjects with aggravated child abuse due to the condition of the children. Investigator blank were all dirty, unkept, hungry, disturbed, and agitated, and had been living in the rear of the van for some time. Blank also stated that the children were all examined for sexual abuse at the hospital in Tallahassee, but the results of the examination were not available at this time. When the children were interviewed, they were unable to tell investigators who their parents were, where they lived, or where they had come from. One of the children stated that they were on their way to Mexico. On February the 5th, 1987, Investigator Blank, an investigator with the Tallahassee Police, who is the case agent, stated that she interviewed the children who stated that blank and more blanks. Lastly, the source in this investigation told your affiant that information concerning this cult is kept in computers stored at the addresses listed in this affidavit. The Tallahassee Police advised that they recovered a computer in the van that was seized in Florida along with discs. The Florida authorities are attempting to obtain a search warrant for the information on the discs and in the computer. The two defendants are currently being held on $50,000 cash bond under the direction of Florida State Attorney Fordham. Based on the information contained in this affidavit, your affidavit requests the issuance of 2 search warrants for the entire premises, known as 3918-20 W Street, NW, Washington, D.C., and 13074 4th Street, NE, Washington, D.C., so that we may go forth and seize all evidence of kidnapping, which is a violation of the United States Code Title 18, Section 1201, including but not limited to records, files, computer software and hardware, and any instrumentalities of a criminal offence. On December the 15th, 1986, Detective Blank responded to the area of Glover Park in the rear of the 3900 block of West Street, North Washington. I don't know. Detective Blank observed a clearing approximately 70 yards behind the house and several stumps surrounding the open area. Several round stones have been gathered near the circle. This practice is sometimes used in satanic rituals, and evidence that several persons had gathered in the clearing recently. The rear of the residence is covered from the alley by heavy bamboo growth, save a small entrance to the rear yard. In the rear yard was a small, very ornate gravestone propped up against the support pillar for the porch. Blank. Any and all any and all minor children present who are not under direct parental or legal guardianship. Okay, it's just saying the same thing again. Metro call cap electronic. That's really hard to, I can't read that writing. Documents, notes, I read that. Okay. I'll just keep going, guys, until I'm trying to get this done really. I just want to get it done like today or tomorrow. I want to finish it. I want to know everything we can know with all these redactions, which I'm reading as blanks. There's a lot of it. CIA tied to cult accused of abuse. Justice probes links to finders. Okay. I'm going to have to break this up, guys. I'll come back shortly and I'll do another one. Okay. Like, share and subscribe. Bye, guys.